It's time now for County-Wide, a special presentation of Yavapai Broadcasting News. Join Paul David and Brad Miller as they talk with our community's leaders, newsmakers, and people in the know. You'll hear about the hot topics that affect all our lives here in Yavapai County. And now, here's today's County-Wide.
Well, good day and welcome to the program. Brad Miller with you, and it is County-Wide. We're happy to have you with us again today. Our guest is Vanessa Ward. Vanessa's the library manager at the Cottonwood Public Library here in Cottonwood, a big job.
Yes.
And lots of things happening with the library. Pretty major renovation there. Gosh, it's probably been a long time ago now, but it seems like just yesterday. But there was an awful lot done at the library in recent years. And I just am a library patron and was thinking about all the different kinds of services that I'm just kind of discovering, even having been a library user for years and years and years. And I thought, let's share with our audience some of those things, not just at the Cottonwood Public Library, but through the network across Yavapai County and so on. So that's why Vanessa's here today, and we thank you for coming in. Good to see you today.
Thank you for having me.
Now, there was a pretty major renovation at the library. How long ago has that been now? It seems like just a year to me.
The addition was done probably about 5-6 years ago.
Okay, yeah. And really expanded, I mean, just the footprint, the physical building size of the Cottonwood Library.
Yes, it was totally dedicated to the youth services area.
To the youth services,
yes.
Okay. And we'll talk about that because that's just such a huge piece of what the library does. Youth services, for older folks and everybody in between. If we could, one of the things I wanted to start with that I've just found myself just very, very impressive is the network, the Yavapai County network. And I'll just give you my experience. You go online, I'll go online and I'll think of a book or I'll hear of one or one will be recommended by a friend. And more often than not, far and away, I think only once in probably dozens of requests have I ever, through the whole network, been able to come up with a book that wasn't somewhere in the network. And so just the resource, could you kind of explain how the network functions and how most of the county libraries are part of it?
Yes, we have over 35 libraries in Yavapai County in our network. You can, as you say, place a hold. We have a courier service that runs 5 days a week that brings books one night. We have them the next morning, and we place put the holds out for you. We have academics, we have public libraries, we have K through 12 libraries.
Yeah, Embry-Riddle, Prescott,
yes,
and on, Cottonwood certainly. And one of the neatest things seems to be, like you said, the wait time typically is very, very short. If there's a new title just released, say, sometimes
you're going to wait a little while.
You're going to wait a little while,
right?
Yeah. But a lot of times, books that have been out for any amount of time, really at all, usually is pretty quick. But there's also selection when you go and you kind of look online, and you can get started by that with that at ctwpl.info. Is that a good place to jump off?
Yes, that is.
Cottonwood, okay, Cottonwood Public Library. Start there, and there's a whole world kind of waiting for you. But it'll offer audiobooks, large print maybe, if you have some vision issues and so on. Cataloging all of those things to start with. Now, you've been doing this for a while. You were kind of around when the network started, weren't you?
I started in '94 as a temporary to convert to automation.
Okay.
And what started as a temporary position ended up full-time. And I started in cataloging and then went to circulation. And within the last year, I became the manager.
Now here you are talking to Brad.
Here I am.
And our folks at home. She says, well, if I known I had to talk to you, Brad, I'd have stopped a long time ago. But it just seems like quite an undertaking to do all of that. We think about libraries as very meticulous and very well documented and a place for everything and everything in its place. And without it, you've got chaos when you've got information stored. Getting everything into the network and available basically online, that had to be just an overwhelming task.
It was quite a job. It was quite a job just entering every item in the library.
Sure.
Initially, we do have a Yavapai Library manager who handled all of the technical end of it, other than us physically putting them into our system.
Right.
We did quite a bit, and actually even moving, when I started, we were still in the old library. which you can't even tell was ever there now.
Yeah, a whole different thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
And just pushing trucks of books to the new library was an experience. But we did have a lot of volunteer help getting in there, and we've grown so much that we've moved things so many times trying to make space and accommodate everyone to make it as simple as we can.
It would seem that one of the things that a good library would need to do and want to do is to kind of roll with the changes. And what I mean by that is kind of based on user demand and user request and whatnot. And really, and it seems to me that certainly the Cottonwood Public Library has done that. Do you get a lot of feedback just from users, or are there, maybe groups in town that kind of help steer some of the new things that kind of come along?
We do get a lot of feedback, a lot of requests. Like once the internet came out, that was a big thing.
Of course.
We initially started out with 9 computers, and now we have over 26, I believe it is.
Yeah, and they're always busy, it seems.
Yes.
Like. Whenever I'm in there, folks will, kind of come in. And we think about that. We think, well, everybody's got a computer, everybody's got a smartphone and all this. No, not everybody does, not by a long shot. And this can mean students, and here again, from young to old, and everybody in between. And they can, come in, research. I mean, what are the computers typically used for, or is there a typical use?
Well, we actually, in the last year, got an AZ-PAC grant to have one job service computer, which we've had great response from. There's a comment sheet. We've had several who have gotten a job from it and thanked us for that being there. And with the job service computer, they get free faxes and free copies. The rest are all based on internet, and you could see somebody playing a game, you could see somebody checking an email, watching a movie.
Yeah.
So they're used quite a bit. We have a children's area has their own set of computers. So they're a little more monitored, and we do have filters on the computers.
We could probably do a whole show just on security and how that kind of works, especially with young people and those kinds of things, because online is a whole world unto its own.
Yes.
So that could be a whole different thing, but rest assured there's been a lot of thought given to those kinds of issues.
Yes, we actually have a filter that we can allow sites or we can take them away.
Right, yeah, good idea. Here again, the network, I don't want to give up on that too easily or move from that too quickly, because it's so impressive for those, especially if you're kind of uninitiated. It can really come down to simply thinking of a book title or an author, and there can be some strange, kinds of things. People think, well, novels and stuff like that. But, technical manuals and just on and on and on. Just browsing can be a lot of fun. And then because of the makeup of the communities that we have around Yavapai County, that there's a lot of different tastes, and like Embry-Riddle, for example, excuse me, has a lot of things that will have to do with engineering and flight and those kinds of dynamics, and so you can kind of start to look around and find different calibers of interest, if you will.
You can, and actually, if you can't find it in the system, as long as it is less than or more than 6 months old, we do have another system, which is our interlibrary loan system that goes out throughout the state.
How does that work?
You can go online and fill out, there's a form you fill out, and our cataloger will request it and get it sent here. For that, we do charge postage.
Sure. So, I mean, Maricopa County, say, or they can come from all over.
It can come, actually, they're like Colorado, Utah, even.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Even out of the state?
Yes.
Okay. Now, we think about the library as maybe one of the best things of this, taxpayer-based. So when you walk in on the day, these services typically are free.
Yes.
There's a fee for postage
just for that.
But so otherwise
Everything
it's like reading
else,
a book.
Everything's free. All we want is the materials back on time.
You bet. Don't look at my card number on the on time thing. I'm so naughty boy sometimes. There's a very, very dear lady over at the Clarkdale Library. I regret that I've forgotten her name. She's got a look. She'll give me that. She's never said anything to me, but she'll say, you owe me 3/4 or something like that. So that's still there. Let's take a short break. Vanessa will talk more when we come back. Our guest today is Vanessa Ward, Library Manager at the Cottonwood Public Library. A lot of information there. We're going to talk about more of it when we come back to Countywide.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. But it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello? That's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
I was in junior high the first time I caught my mom using denial. She had to have known her painkillers were missing because I kept stealing them. Her denial was so out of hand.
So she doesn't even know? I'm going out.
It was like I could get away with anything.
You kids have fun.
And that was when I knew. When she was addicted to denial.
Denial is a drug. Get help. The partnership at drugfree.org.
So, same time next week?
Well, of course. Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million. For free tips to help you save, go to Feed the Pig.
Now, some action from the courts. Billie Jean King renewing her rivalry with Arthritis. First set, furious volley, and right to the net for a winner. Beautiful forehand there. Arthritis, stunned. And here, match point. Billie Jean with the ace, taking it in straight sets. Afterwards, a jubilant Billie Jean King.
Tennis is a weapon for me with arthritis. There's nothing like it for me to hit a ball, run to the ball, anytime, any court. I'm ready. Let's go.
What's your weapon against arthritis? Find out at fightarthritispain.org.
Welcome back to the program. Again, Vanessa Ward is here. Vanessa is the manager at the Cottonwood Public Library. Online at ctwpl.info. Take a look, and a whole new world will open up for you if you haven't been to a library in a time. Great resource, of course. 634-7559 is the general number over at the Cottonwood Public Library. You mentioned in our first segment kind of the expansion, the big project there a few years ago that's now fully in place. A lot of that had to do with youth services. And here again, when I think of libraries, I think of young people, kids,
Yes.
in school and doing research for papers at the high school level, say all the way down to the little ones, just learning how to read. Lots of programs here again that have to do, because youth is such a big part of our learning community, and we think about Cottonwood or any library as a learning facility. Is that right?
Yes, it is. And it's really a gathering place. We're really trying to focus more on putting out there what youth services offers. We have a game on day where kids can come in and play Xbox. We have many melody makers. One of our staff actually plays a violin. So you can hear them in there with the violin, and they have their little tambourines for the little ones. Twisted Teen Time, they do crafts.
Now, I thought you were supposed to be quiet in the library. That's the old
Not
cliche.
in this day.
Not on this day. Yeah, violins and tambourines. Okay.
Yes. No, they have a great time. They have family movies where the parents can watch the movies with the kids on the first Saturday of the month. We have tutoring, free tutor help.
Great.
Which you can also get on our databases. At tutor.com, you can actually get one-on-one help where it's a great resource. It does not give the child the answers, and that is from K through 12.
Tutor.com.
Tutor.com.
Never heard of that.
That is a database where you can ask a question and they have live help.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I can do that from home, and it's through the services that you offer?
Yes, if you go to our research databases, which at our web page would be on the left side, the databases, and in there you'll find tutor.com. You'll also find Mango, which is you can learn a foreign language.
Is that right?
Yes.
The website, again, ctwpl.info, great place to start, hook up to the network or any of the things Vanessa's talking about. A very comprehensive website and a lot there, obviously.
Yes.
And I thought I'd looked at it pretty good. I'm not familiar with any of the programs you just mentioned. Tell me about, here again with the youngsters and coordinating with schools, as you were kind of talking there about like the music thing. We kind of laughed about the violins and the tambourines and stuff. But I know that in a lot of schools, some of the first programs that have been cut out of necessity because of money, have to do with arts and music. And it seems like, just from what you said, suggests to me that the library, through some of these programs, can kind of take up some of that slack for maybe for some students who are not able to share in some of those programs at school itself. Is that the aim of some of these things? It
is the aim. Excuse me. We really want to see what our patrons want and what the kids want. Yeah. And we do have a teen advisory board, which is they can select books, they can select activities. They were actually in the Christmas float this year. Sure. Their second year.
Sure.
We have started outreach where we've actually had some staff go to a couple of the Head Starts and daycare centers, so they are going and providing story time for them that has really taken off.
Yeah.
And we do have the classes come in for story time. We do tours. The schools will bring a classroom of children in, and they have a tour and how to use the library, what the library offers, and how to behave in the library.
Bring your tambourine. There's, yeah. Well, and when you do that, and again, you know, young people, kind of that exposure starts to build that, I guess, culture of learning, if we can be that grand about it. But just the idea that, you know, kind of being exposed to these things makes it so it's not, because you walk in and it's something, it's a beautiful building, but there's just kind of so much to it. And it can be a little overwhelming, especially for young people or folks who haven't been in a library in a long time. And to kind of go that way and become familiar, it seems, put you into a more comfortable position where you can take advantage of the services more thoroughly.
Right. And we actually have the summer reading program, which several years ago, they can read books and get prizes.
Cool.
Well,
kids love
we tried 2 years ago, actually, we did books instead of prizes. and no, it actually created, we've had several parents comment on how their child loved receiving that book.
Is that right?
Yes, and they are now reading.
Yeah.
So, you know, they pick the book, and we've got a lot of children that come in there.
You mentioned reading, and I want to ask you about this because I'll bet you're at the very front to see this. And we think of the grand kind of shining example is the Harry Potter thing. When we talk about young people really becoming engaged again in the printed book, the hold it in my hand, you know, and that kind of a thing. And there's other series now that I think are trying to kind of follow that path. My son reads. There's a series that he's. Have you seen kind of an upswing? Is that even a fair question? Is there even a way to gauge that? Would you attribute it to kind of, you know, authors aiming at younger readers again?
Yes.
Yeah?
I would. And there's actually, the big thing are graphic novels.
Yeah.
Right now.
Okay.
But yeah, the Stephanie Meyer's series, James Patterson's series.
Those are the ones my boy is into.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They are gearing. It's like this fine line now between adult and young adult.
Right, exactly.
Which is great. So it
all feeds into the collective good of young people opening books. Just seems like a good thing all the way around. Almost no way to parse that in a negative way.
No, there isn't.
Vanessa smiles. Maybe there is.
No,
youngsters sometimes. We used to go to the library and get the National Geographics. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Just, you know, silly, stupid teenage boys, and I suppose that's still boys are going to be boys. But overall, there's a lot to be learned and a lot to be done through the library system. It's great to hear that young people are about it as well. We need to take a short break. I want to talk to you about your volunteers when we come back, and others out there who may be able to volunteer if they knew a little bit more about it. We'll tell you about it with Vanessa Ward right after this.
Having a fire escape plan is very important to keep your family safe and together in the event of a fire. When you awake to the sound of a smoke detector and smoke in your room, don't stand straight up. Carefully roll off your bed and stay low under the smoke. If your door is shut, feel the door with the back of your hand. Slowly open the door if no heat is felt. Always stay low until you get to the outside of your home. Always have 2 ways out of your house and a specified meeting place somewhere outside your home. Home escape plans should be drawn up and rehearsed on a regular basis. This could be the difference between life and death if caught in a fire.
Yes, ready? Go get it.
Oh, come on, Randy. Animal shelter, here I come. And no, I'm not crazy or emotionally damaged. That's a stereotype. I just belong to a total loser. I'm a good dog. So if you want a pet, adopt. And if you see Randy, tell him he dropped his wallet.
Fire can happen at any time. What would you try to save?
My family photos.
My grandfather's war memorabilia.
My dogs.
I'm firefighter Brandon Wacker with the Cottonwood Fire Department. A working smoke detector is your best defense in the event of a fire. Make sure you have a smoke detector in every room except your kitchen. Test them monthly and change the battery once a year. Take the time to save the things you can't replace.
It's easy to tell if you've had way too many. But what if you've had just one too many? Buzz driving is drunk driving.
Again, we welcome you back to the program. It is Countywide. Brad Millerton, and our guest has been Vanessa Ward, Library Manager at the Cottonwood Public Library. And again, thanks for coming in today. The volunteers make it happen, don't they?
Yes, they
There's
do.
An awful lot of volunteer help. Tell me a little bit about them, and do you need more? Probably.
We can always use more volunteers. Okay. We usually do 2 to 3 hour shifts.
Okay.
And they can do that once or twice a week, however they want to. It's your time.
Yeah.
We value our volunteers immensely. You can do book mending, book covering, shelf reading, work the circulation desk. We come up with special projects that we don't have time to get to, but need to be done.
Right.
And volunteers do any number of things there.
Do I need any special skills to be a volunteer?
No, you can pick up an application. You have to be fingerprinted.
Yeah, right.
And you're good to go.
Okay.
We actually use them for crafts and youth services. They help out there.
I suppose every now and again you'll have a volunteer that brings a skill set of some kind.
Yes.
That can become a program, perhaps, or
yes.
depending on the enthusiasm of that person and so on and so forth.
We have all types. We've had doctors. We've had any retired person, and you don't have to be retired to volunteer.
Yeah. Well, God bless them. You don't have to volunteer either. You know, you can stay home and do what you want. But so we greatly appreciate. I know you do too.
We have a great volunteer family.
Yeah.
It really is a family.
Well, that's terrific. You mentioned the Friends program during our break.
Right. We have Friends of the Library called the Cottonwood Bookmarks.
Okay.
You can bring in donated books, and they go to them what I don't put in the system. They fund us when I don't have it in the budget.
Okay.
So they're a great resource. You can become a member for $5 for a year, and then you get a discount on books if you buy books in their little boutique.
Okay. Yeah, books for sale after being, I guess, retired from the rental shelves.
Yes.
So just one more thing.
One way to donate.
There you go. We could talk all day about the various programs and the various kinds of things, but the best way to do it, online is a good start if you can't get to the library anytime soon. Kind of do a kick the tires. Come down and just walk around, browse.
Right.
Take a look at the shelves. Come and say hello.
We have friendly staff.
Yeah.
We do our best. We are here for the community.
Magazines, CDs, DVDs. We didn't even talk about a lot of those kinds of things, but all of it available at your Cottonwood Public Library or a library branch near you in Yavapai County. CTWPL.info and 634-7559 is the phone number. And our library manager in Cottonwood is Vanessa Ward. We thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Good holidays to you from here on out.
Same to you.
All right. Thanks for joining us. It's our program. We'll see you next time.
This has been Countywide, a special presentation of Yavapai Broadcasting News. Listen in each Tuesday and Thursday as we tackle the hot topics and talk to the decision makers across Yavapai County. That's Countywide with Brad Miller and Paul David each Tuesday and Thursday on this Yavapai Broadcasting Station.